In Mexico, especially the young people, especially in the 80s, the word antro became very famous. And it's a slang just to say, let's go and dance. Let's go to an antro. I like to dance, and I always wanted to write a dance piece. So at some point, I was driving in the night, and I was just talking to my husband, Alejandro, and suddenly Alejandro said, oh, that would be really great. Just imagine, like if we are, driving in the night, and we are going to all these antros, and you read a piece about all these antros, like a night journey. And Alejandro said, let's call Antrópolis, because, polis from, the Greek word, and antro, Antrópolis. This piece is divided into 4 different clubs. So the first one, for example, it's called Los Infernos, the hell. I remember going to this place, this dance club, and everything were painting like, flames and devils, and it was really, really funny. And Los Infernos starts with a real kind of cumbia. It's a Gabi's cumbia. It doesn't have any specific reference. El Bombay, for example, for me, it's more exotic, and I use the vibraphone and some cowbells because it has this kind of exotic flavor. And it's a big legend, because just imagine El Bombay, something like kind of a, Indian kind of theme, but then Mexican, but, kind of exotic. And so it was really fun. The Tutti Frutti has not a drum set, but there is a moment that for me reminds me a little bit like a drum set, because, this is experimental music from the 80s. The Tutti Frutti, that was a club that became very famous in the 80s. And the reason that I went to that club is because, I was obsessed with punks. I ended up like going every once a week at least, go to the Tutti Frutti. So it was really fun, and that's why I wanted to also have the Tutti Frutti, bar address in Antrópolis. And then the last one, it's called Salon Colonia. It was probably one of my favorites because, the groups there, they used to play real mambo, and I like mambo very much. So, the last, club that has its quote in this piece is called El Salon Colonia. Something that is very unique in Antrópolis is that the piece starts with a big cadencia for the solo timpani player. And I wanted to do that because normally, there is a solo for flute or there is a solo for violin. But what about a timpani solo? What about a piece that starts with a very, very strong timpani solo? I like to write for percussion in general. So this is something very unique. Something that it's very interesting from Antrópolis is that I've heard this piece with so many orchestras. You will think that, because it's about mambo and about all these Latin American rhythms, then, you needed a Latin American orchestra to play this piece. But in fact, the piece was played in Jakarta. This piece was played recently in Vienna with Marin Alsop. And it was an amazing version. I think that music is universal. So as soon as, people really understands what it's, happening, it could work. And I have, the pleasure to say that, so many versions of this piece with so many orchestras, and it's always a big surprise. And, that suddenly, I've seen all the, these people really playing with a lot of groove and doing an incredible work.